Hey up, it's 6:41. Rima here with you, with Tony on 5 Live Drive, and Eid will be celebrated next week. That's to mark the end of Ramadan. But a survey has found that over 90% of British Muslims are worried that the cost of living crisis will mean that they have to cut back on food and gifts. Earlier I spoke to MasterChef winner and TV chef Shalina Permaloo and started by asking her how she enjoys Eid.
Absolutely. I love Eid, but I also love Ramadan. And I do think it has been difficult for the last few years. And cost of living really is having an impact. So it's been really nice to team up with ASDA to come up with some really delicious recipes that can help people who are celebrating Ramadan and Eid this month.
I want to hear about those, Shalina, in a few moments. But I think we've got to talk about this research. It feels a bit bittersweet. There'll be lots of people who are really looking forward to celebrating Eid. I'm one of those people. But to know that there are so many people who are so worried about how they afford it, that's quite concerning.
Absolutely. And I think to a certain degree, it's also about the way that we view it as well. I think traditionally Ramadan and Eid can be quite excessive. It can be very luxurious. And I think actually taking a few steps back and thinking about, well, actually, what should we be doing and what would we like to be doing is kind of two separate things.
What is it that people are worrying about specifically money-wise during Ramadan? Is it the cost of the gifts? Is it the cost of the food?
I think with Ramadan, it's the cost of the food. And also, I think it obviously has something to do with the way that people traditions will have something to do with this. So people will always cook things that they are traditionally used to. And actually, it's quite hard to change the way that people cook at home when you're so used to it. Another part of the research shows that people lacked inspiration, and with 70 to 75% of them would cook the same recipes over and over again. So it is about recipe inspiration. It's about finding new ways to make recipes and to make them easier on the wallet, really. And then for Eid, it obviously is around the gift giving, the buying of clothes, the decorations and all the food. It is a lot for everyone, and it's very expensive.
Well, it's interesting because, as you say, you really enjoy Ramadan. I really enjoy Ramadan. There is a really reflective and spiritual side of the month. And it's not about the food, really. It's about the sacrifice that you make if you are fasting. It's what that makes you feel. So it is interesting that the priority here, we're looking at the cost of things.
Yeah, exactly. When I think of Ramadan, I see it as a spiritual reset. It's a moment to pause in the busy life that we all have and to take a few steps back and to know that people are still worrying about how they're going to afford to cook for their families throughout that month is a challenge. But I certainly think thinking differently about the way that you cook and making some different types of swaps in those meals that you would classically use, I think will certainly help with making those cost savings.
Come on then, Shalina, I want to hear these as well. What advice can you share for our Ramadan meals and recipes?
So one of the recipes that I think is a really nice shortcut is a traditional harira, which is a Moroccan soup made with meat traditionally, with lentils, with vermicelli, packed with flavour, really nourishing. But the recipe that I've shared is a vegan version using tin chickpeas instead of using meat. And actually it makes the price so much better, but it doesn't mean that it doesn't taste nice. I'm using all of the classic spices that you would have with a harira. I'm using toasted vermicelli, so you don't have to cook it out for long, and I'm not adding lentils. But with that, you still have that nourishing feeling that you have with a classic iftar meal, which is the meal that you would have to break your fast in the evening. And it has all of the, I suppose, flavours that you would expect rather than the traditions. So that is one simple recipe that I have shared.
Shalina, that sounds absolutely delicious. I like as well, because it's really easy to say to people, well, if you're struggling for money, don't celebrate the way that you would usually celebrate. But actually, if you can just change a few things, with the canned lentils and the canned chickpeas and that sort of thing, where it's not changing the way you celebrate, it's just sort of making it slightly different and a bit more cost effective. I think that's really lovely. Plans for Eid then, Shalina?
So for me, plans always involve my daughter waking up and eating chocolate first thing. It's the only day of the year that she's given a free pass. It's like a free hall pass on how much chocolate she can eat. We often go and get ice cream. So me and the other mums and the kids go and grab ice cream, and the mums fuel themselves with coffee. So that's normally how we celebrate Eid. But this year, I think just making sure that everyone feels, I normally host. So just creating those recipes at home, letting everyone come over will be really, really nice.
MasterChef winner and TV chef Shalina Permalou speaking to me a little earlier. Eid next week. Do you want to come round, Tony?
For Eid? Is that an invite?
Listen, I'm not a MasterChef TV chef.
What are you having?
Well, if I'm really honest, just quite dozens of samosas.
Yeah.
Dozens and dozens of samosas.
If I don't make it, just post some in.
I will. I'll bring some for you.
So it's not a firm no. It's not a firm no.
I can't believe you've parred me off.
No. Well, look, I got to bed early. I'm in bed for 8:30. It's 6:46 on Drive. I won't be in bed early tonight. I'll be listening to these. There's 3 Premier League games tonight. 5 Live Sports going to be bouncing around the grounds. Arsenal can go top if they beat Luton at home. They won the reverse fixture 4-3 earlier this season. And boss Mikel Arteta is full of praise for Luton Town.
Big compliments to Rob, the coaching staff, and what they have done as a club is an amazing journey. I think they deserve more credit than any other team in this league. How they've done it, what they transmit as a team, and what they generated, and it's going to be a really tough match tomorrow. Well,
listening to that is the former manager of Brentford, Rangers, Forest, QPR, Mark Warburton, who's part of our team at the Emirates tonight. Hello, Mark.
Good evening.
Listening to Arteta, you kind of would say, I mean, I can say this, you probably can't, but he has to say that, doesn't he? He'll be fancying his chances tonight.
He will be. I mean, their record certainly against promoted teams is so strong. I think 33 wins out of 38, so the data's certainly in their favour. But he's made some changes tonight, so it'll be interesting to see how his new personnel adapts. They've got the quality, of course they have, but Luton have shown they can score goals as well. So hopefully it'll be very positive, I'm sure, but Luton come here and will definitely pose a threat.
And what will they do, Luton? Will they attempt to sit back? I mean, they've been pretty on the front foot, haven't they? Long ball stuff, but front footish.
They have. They've proven they can score goals home and away. I mean, you look at their goal record, 42 goals. I mean, I think they've scored more goals than Man United, so a tremendous record in terms of attacking the opposition box, but there's no doubt they concede late goals as well. So it'll be very keen for them to be defensively strong, solid and compact, but at the same time maintain that desire and intensity that have served them so well in terms of attacking.
It's a brilliant title race as far as we neutrals are concerned, with 3 teams at it, which is great. Arsenal fell away last season. What do you think of their chances this time, Mark?
No, I think they're in great shape. I really do. I think the weekend they went to Man City and they showed their defensive solidity, which was very, very important for them. I think so. The acquisition of Declan Rice has been a huge positive in terms of what he brings to the team as opposed to last year. So I think they're in very good shape. As you say, for the neutral, we're in for a fantastic run in now.
Mark, enjoy the match.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark Warburton, who's at the Emirates then watching Arsenal against Luton. One of 3 games we're covering tonight. Another one is Manchester City are at home to Aston Villa. It's 3rd against 4th, actually, in the Premier League. Erling Haaland has failed to score in 12 of his last 17 appearances for club and country, including the last 5 for City. But the boss, Pep Guardiola, says you can't blame just one player. 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 Says you can't blame just one player.